Mace, we are going to talk some baseball with you, but we opened up the show with more this morning talking about the fight that is set to come between Le'Veon Bell and Adrian Peterson. And Drew and I were kind of joking around who would be the battle of ESPN Arkansas. You worked with Derek Ruskin and Zach Arns. Who would win a fight between Ruskin and Arns in a boxing match, you think?
Oh, wow. I didn't know we were going to lead off with this. Okay. That's a tough question, but I actually think it's a really easy answer. I'd have to take Zach because for those of you who don't really know behind the scenes, Zach is the same guy off air as he is on air, and Ruskin's more of like a quiet guy, kind of keeps to himself off air from what I really observed. So I think that Zach would take that one.
All right, well, that's a point for Zach, and you said Zach, and I said Zach. Zach's got 3 points to this point. Maybe they just need to duke it out to see what happens. All right, Mace, baseball time. So Arkansas is losing a lot, not just transfers, but you could probably stack it up at the top of your head. I'm thinking Nolan, Slavens, Battles, Moore, Wallace, and I'm probably Zeb. I mean, those are just some of the names that kind of pop in my head. You think about what they're losing next year. What kind of stands out about this roster turnover that Dave Van Horn and his staff is having to go through right now?
Well, you got to start with the fact that if you look at the starting lineup that they had throughout the postseason, they're probably only going to return 2 guys from that lineup, and that's Peyton Stovall and Zach Gregory. Gregory coming in, he's going to be a redshirt senior next year. I don't see him getting drafted, and even if he does, it's going to be a later round. So I think he comes back. And then, of course, Stovall is going to be a sophomore next year. We had all the drama with him possibly transferring. He cleared that up. He's going to be there. But and then you just look at those guys that you mentioned. Nolan's going to be gone. Battles and Slavens and Nolan, all 3 of those guys, I mean, they could still come back. They have that extra COVID year that they haven't used yet, but I would be shocked if any of them comes back. So that you're going to lose those guys. And then the big thing is yesterday you had Heston Toll and Max Solis and Gabe Starks. Their names showed up in the transfer portal. And so with Solis, that makes it to where you don't have a catcher on the roster. And I know a lot of people were freaking out about that, but I truly believe that, Solis and Dylan Leach, those 2 guys, they would not transfer out if Arkansas didn't have a plan and they didn't sit down with Dave Van Horn and his staff and they were told something, and basically it was probably, hey, we're bringing in these guys that are probably going to play for us next year, so you might want to look at something else. I highly doubt that 2 guys would leave if they thought they were going to have playtime here next year. If they thought they were going to have playtime here next year, then they would have stayed at Arkansas. But that's a big worry for people is the catcher position. If you just look at it at pitcher, they got a ton of guys coming in on top of some guys that are going to remain next year that threw a lot this year. So they're going to be good at pitcher. It's just trying to figure out this lineup.
Mace, you bring up just kind of the transition right now, and I do wonder the exit meetings that Dave has with his guys. Hey, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. Hey, we're bringing these guys in. I wonder how similar those would be with Eric Musselman having his meetings at the end of the year. And I say exit meetings, just kind of end of the year meetings after the season is concluded. Wouldn't you love to sit in on one of those with some of the guys?
I really would, because you hear a lot of, rumors about what they say and what they don't say to guys. You have some guys who are going to leave and they're going to be upset about it, and then you have some guys who are going to leave and they're going to be fine with it. And they understand. Like, I think of Heston Toll. He announced yesterday he's going to go to Texas, and that was a little weird because Texas doesn't even have a pitching coach right now. So it was weird that he's going to a school without a pitching coach. And I reached out to his sister, and she basically said, hey, this was the best decision for Heston. There's no bad blood between him and Arkansas and him and the coaches. It's just we thought if he goes to Texas, he's going to have the best opportunity to pitch. And if he stayed at Arkansas, that might not have been the case. And, that's just how baseball goes. And that's understandable and it's respectable. And you can't be mad at a guy for leaving to try to get more time playing so he can build himself up to get to the ultimate goal, which is to play in the major leagues. So it is one of those things where Dave probably sits with them and he's like, hey, you're either going to play or you're not going to play next year. And I feel like the guys that are transferring, they probably got that conversation where it's like, look, we love you. We brought you in hoping you would play, but you didn't develop the way we hoped you would, and maybe it's best if you move on.
We're talking with Mason Choate of the Diamond Hogs podcast this morning. Mason, Clay was telling us yesterday the Cape Cod League is kind of the premier place where a lot of colleges guys go. And I think about one of my friends, Max Hers, who does a lot of stuff for Vanderbilt. He got a chance to be the play-by-play guy for the Chatham A's, which if you've seen the movie Summer Catch with Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jessica Biel, that's that team in that movie. Have you thought about potentially kind of following some of the guys out to one of those destinations, either Cape Cod League or some of the other places they go? And what do you think those experiences are like from talking to players from time to time?
You know, it's funny that you asked, because I was talking to a player yesterday, a former Razorback player who kind of told me that he met a lot of guys in the Cape League and developed relationships with them, and one of those relationships might bloom into a transfer coming into Arkansas here in the next few weeks. And so I think that not only are you continuing to play baseball and playing with some of the better players around the country, but you're building these relationships that can then turn into maybe a guy who's not happy where he's at and he can come into Arkansas, or vice versa, a guy at Arkansas who's not happy where he's at and then he can go somewhere else. So, I think I'm going to follow the guys more this year than I have in the past. They've got, I believe, 11 guys who are playing summer ball, or actually 13 if Brady Tigert and Hagen Smith can make the USA Baseball Collegiate National Team. But it's interesting to follow these guys and see what they do. I know Peyton Stovall and Jace Borfin are both going to play for the Fallmouth Commodores there in the Cape Cod League, so I think that's cool. Peyton said that him and Jace are going to drive up there together on like a 20-plus hour drive. So that'll build their relationship. So maybe they'll come in next year and, be leaders of the team. I think that they could do that. Orphan, another guy who's going to return, probably will start in the outfield. So, I think summer ball is a really cool thing. For Hagen Smith and Brady Tiger, if they can make that USA Baseball national team, I think that's a really good thing to build your game, especially because I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure Mike Bianco is going to be coaching that team. He just coached Ole Miss to a national championship, so that would be a cool opportunity for them.
I would expect those two guys, at least Hagen, and I would expect Tiger as well, to be two of your starters next year. Am I onto something there, or am I completely off base, Mace?
Yeah, I mean, just based off of what happened this year, I think Hagen Smith for sure, and then Tiger is a guy that they talked about throughout the year. This is someone that we're developing to be a starter for us in the future. So whether the future means this year or this next year, I think that's a big possibility. He did struggle down the stretch, but he's still a very talented pitcher. He's still got Will McIntyre coming back. I mean, he's eligible to get drafted, but I would assume he's coming back. And so that's a guy that you could see in the rotation. And then they're bringing in some transfers also. I mean, some of the transfers they're bringing in.
Is it 12 pitchers, Mace, that they're bringing in? I think that's what you said.
I think it's 12 freshmen, and that's according to Perfect Game, and they're not always up to date on their list. So I've counted 12 of what they have, 12 freshmen, and then I think they have two freshman pitchers coming in, Hunter Holland from San Jacinto, and then Cody Adcock from Crowder. Adcock's a guy who did pitch for Ole Miss before he went to Crowder, and then went there, and now he's coming to Arkansas. Don't know how good he's going to be at Arkansas, but the fact that he did go to Ole Miss and now he's coming to Arkansas after a year at Crowder, that'll be good for the Hogs. They're going to be loaded at pitcher next year, I feel like. So the decisions to make for starters are going to be plenty.
What did you make of those rumors? And really, it didn't seem, whenever I see something on message boards or social media, I'm very hesitant to think it's true until I see a certain sports journalist, whether it's Tom, Clay, Dudley, whoever, verify the authenticity of that. What did you make of kind of the stuff surrounding Peyton Stovall the last couple of days before he kind of squashed it? I think it was 2 days ago, yeah.
I thought that it really made no sense after how he performed in the postseason And, the only thing that would have made sense about it is, maybe he goes to LSU because he's a Louisiana kid, and LSU seems to be getting every transfer to the portal right now. But I don't know. I think, I don't really know where the rumor started or why it started, but I don't understand why, something like that has to start, but that's just what people will do. And you mentioned message boards. That's the best place to find a rumor. And you could go to probably any message board in Arkansas right now and talk yourself into some of the rumors that they have going on. And there's some right now about Matt Hawgs going to Texas and then Arkansas getting the Texas pitching coach. And so it's like, I don't understand why that would happen, but I guess anything is possible at this point in the world. But, yeah, I don't see why you need to start a rumor about some guy who hasn't said a thing, hasn't, given a sign that he plans to transfer. Mm-hmm. And all it does is it just riles up the fan base, gets everybody mad at each other. And it's just I don't get it, but if that's what you want to do with your life, then go ahead.
All right, we'll leave it there, Mace. Appreciate your time this morning. Mason Choate, Diamond Hogs podcast. Going to have one more podcast with him and Robert Stewart with Dave Van Horn before their season of this edition has concluded. Mace, good stuff this morning, man, and enjoy your summer as best you can before we get some Arkansas football head our way in 66 days.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one.
All right, good stuff from Mason Choate.
Partners at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's Wimbledon Finals, Major League Baseball, the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BLEAV. That's BLEAV to get the bonus and get into the action. Bet online, where the game starts.